Party's not a party's a man who fights crime, and we're gonna watch him fight for a minute at a time with John and Niall and a guest who doesn't rhyme. It's Bat Minute!
You must be new in town. Batminute and Robin talked to us about each minute of Batman and Robin. Even about plants and flowers. Hello, everyone. It's me, Niall McGowan, one of the hosts of Batminute and Robin.
I'm John Parker, and I'm going to drag you kicking and screaming out of your filmic primordial ooze.
And yeah, we're joined once again by returning guests from Monday. We have Doris from American Graffiti, One Song at a Time.
Hello.
And Neil Brown from Science and Magic, the films of Studio Ghibli.
I'm back.
Hey, I'm here to talk about minute 38 of Batman and Robin. Minute 38 begins with Ivy getting very excited, and it ends a minute later with Ivy getting an invite. So
was that a Borat reference? Very excited.
Yes, all my references are very topical, John. Although, to be fair, a Borat sequel did just come out.
That's
so it's
true.
Like, yeah, I'm back on the pulse, baby.
I bet the Midnight Boys, from Titanic Minute, are loving that because they constantly quote Borat. So they're like, yes, we're back in fashion again. To be fair, I always do. If somebody ever says my wife, in my head, I'm going, my wife.
I think, if nothing else, Sarah Bash Cohen has left the world, it's going to be my wife. But no, Neil, you were chomping at the bit last time to talk about Bruce's reaction to Ivy's plan here, because she has her whole, you're killing her, and I would have loved had he read the whole document. There was actually like 5 minutes of him standing going, wait a minute. Just leafing through the pages.
Perhaps he should have. I mean, he barely glances at it, right? And bear in mind that she is a doctor, and she's a qualified scientist working for him in one of his labs. So he should assume that she's capable because she's a scientific employee. Yeah. Otherwise, what kind of person is he employing? So the fact that she's bringing him this fairly chunky kind of dossier around things that his company could do to help save the planet, and he reads it in like 2 seconds, leaps to some conclusions around the fact that millions of people would die, and just tosses it back to her. It's like, well, actually there might be some good stuff in there. You might not like the kind of the big picture stuff, or you might not like the degrees to which it goes, but surely there may be something in there that you could dig out and say, actually, that one's a pretty easy win. You could probably do that, yeah.
At the very least, he should be like, you know what? Let's schedule a meeting for next week.
Yeah, or at least give me some time to read this.
Right. Yeah.
Not now. But, what? No diesel fuel, no coolants? You're crazy.
Yeah, but if he read it...
Yeah.
The thing is, though, in the last movie, he did try that with Edward Nygma, where he's just like, we'll schedule a meeting, talk to my secretary, Margaret, and he's like, and then Nygma was like, no, I need an answer now. So maybe he's just like, I've been here before.
It scared him.
Yeah, it's just like, if I say, give me time with this, she'll be like, no, I want to know right now. Like,
a crazy person with a green fetish has got this like insane plan? No.
Not again.
No.
But the thing is, it also could be, because he is Batman, and Batman can't do everything, he could be a speed reader, and he's just going zip through the whole thing. Like those old adverts you used to get for the tapes of like, we could teach you to speed read.
Oh, yeah,
and always be some guy who's like, he's read 50 pages in under a minute. And then he's like, tell us what on those pages. And he's like, oh, here's exactly what they said. It's like, oh, this wasn't pre-recorded or planned at all.
But it's also kind of, he's leapt to conclusions here, right? And he's ascertained that this plan involves stopping the use of diesel and coolants, but that will result in millions of people dying of cold and hunger. What? Because there's nothing else other than diesel that could possibly be used to heat people or their homes or their food. On coolants, how else could we possibly refrigerate food without coolants? Well, maybe you should have a think about it, and maybe instead of just
If you
tossing
can,
it back.
put it in a
to her. He's the
refrigerator,
blame.
filling that a cool wet sack.
Nice reference.
And it's not like solar panels hadn't been invented yet.
Right,
That's true.
exactly.
And Bruce would
There's a
be
whole
at the
thing at the
forefront
end of this
that.
movie about friggin' solar panels. So-
It shows actually, it just dates the movie, right? Because back in 97, people didn't care about sustainable energy. Now, of course, they do. So if anyone said to anyone, you know, well, you should maybe stop using diesel, it's like, yeah, in your car, it's like, okay, yeah, well, I'll just buy an electric car then.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing that confused me, right? The no coolants thing. I'm like, okay, yeah, I get that. You need to preserve food. Okay. But no diesel, I really didn't understand. Even back then, did a lot of people use diesel?
But millions of people didn't die of hunger before coolants were invented.
No. But, well, people would die of all kinds of crap.
Diesel is the fuel used in agriculture, in transportation. It's not your private cars. Of course, in Germany, a lot of people drive diesel cars, although that's also going out of fashion.
Well, the first time I
but,
saw an electric car was when I went to Germany. I'd never seen one.
Really?
Yeah. Well, it was Berlin, though.
We do not have that many on the streets yet.
I don't know if
You should
Berlin
go to
counts,
Norway.
though. Berlin's weird.
Yeah, Berlin is Berlin. Berlin is not the rest of Germany.
Yeah.
But if you really want to see a lot of electric cars, go to Norway.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you over in the continent as well. Because I know from when I was over in Europe like a couple of years ago, I know it is more kind of green thinking because there's so many bicycles as well. Like Europe, the mainland Europe loves bicycles.
Again, depends on where you are.
Yeah.
Germany is not known for its biker friendliness, but
Except Berlin again,
Netherlands,
weirdly.
for example. Yeah, Netherlands, for example.
Denmark's meant to be good for that. Apparently,
they-
Copenhagen.
Absolutely. Yeah.
They have a better climate than the UK.
That helps. Yeah. And our roads and whatnot are so crazy and chaotic. It makes riding a bike difficult because nothing is sensibly planned in England. It's all over the place.
I don't think there's a single road in Liverpool where I'm not like, this could have been better planned.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
they're
yeah.
all terrible. They're all like, why isn't there a traffic light here? Why isn't there anything that's designed to not let people die? Like, it's terrible.
And they weave all over the place and go down weird little alleyways. I suppose the only other place a bit like that, Italy's got pretty crazy roads. That's all over
does.
the place, and you don't know where anything is. And you go down an alleyway, and suddenly there's like a giant cafe. You're like, where did this come from? What the?
But we'll say though, Ivy or Pamela Isley or whichever. I suppose at this point she is Poison Ivy, so it's like we just have to call her Poison Ivy.
I'm using it
She's-
interchangeably. I've written my notes with both names.
Yeah. But she does kind of tip her hand, and I will say it's probably my favorite line of the movie. Whereas millions of people will die of cold and hunger alone. And she's just like acceptable losses in the battle to save the planet.
Yeah, it's the delivery, isn't it?
It's just so chipper about it.
Yeah.
I remember when I watched that recently and preparing for the movie, that actually got like a proper like a good guffaw out of me.
Same. Because the look on her face when she says it as well, she seems really excited and like Bruce will agree with her.
Yeah,
Of course he's going to agree with me. Yeah. Spoiler alert, he does not.
it's so weird though because it does have a dark tinge, considering the year we came out of. Where I do remember, like in the midst of like the worst of lockdowns and stuff, people were like, "We need to open everything back up now." And people were saying, like, "Well, if you do all that, like 6% of the population could die."
Yeah.
And it was some people online were basically going like acceptable losses in the battle to save the economy.
Yeah.
Like it was bizarre.
It was so strange. It was so weird. I did not understand that. And, if one of their family members had got ill, it would have been a different story to them, I bet you.
Oh, 100%,
Because it didn't
yeah.
affect them directly, they didn't care.
I suppose the benefit of Pamela Isley is like she doesn't seem to beyond Bane. She doesn't seem to have anybody, so she's like, what do I care?
Yeah,
I
Bane.
mean, your own PM kind of did a 180 on that
God, yeah.
after he landed in hospital.
But then speaking of environmentalist misanthropes, I thought it was fascinating to me because in the commentary, Joel Schumacher, he's very condemning of Ivy's plan. He's like, oh yeah, like all fanatics, she's completely insane. Like we're sitting here going, oh, what you're saying doesn't seem to be all that bad. But
You of course see how perceptions change in 2 decades. So when he said most of the stuff she says is perfectly reasonable. I mean, she wants to go through with the totally wrong means to achieve her goal, but we all agree that things need to be done.
Yeah, yeah. And if Bruce
Yeah.
didn't cut the funding, if he'd just got rid of Woodrow, maybe she wouldn't have turned evil. She could have helped Bruce to achieve this great new world. But look, it's Bruce. Bruce is the villain.
Well, and everyone else in the room as well, right? Because they all laugh at her.
That upsets me, is the mocking.
Yeah. These people are monsters.
It's full on
awful.
scientists as well. It's like the astrologers and stuff. They're guffawing at her.
Michael Paul Chan.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing, though, right? I like how Bruce doesn't join in with the mocking. He kind of just... He doesn't stop it. He should stop it. But he doesn't join in. He kind of... He feels a little bit bad for her, I think.
And then you have Houndstooth Lady there.
Being horrible.
Yeah, Gossip Gertie.
She annoys me so much. But that's why she's a great character.
But we'll say, though, another little thing Schumacher briefly mentioned in the commentary, where he's like, Ivy here, she's like a sexy, sultry Ted Kaczynski. And I was like, the Unabomber? And then looking at it, it's like, holy crap, no, Poison Ivy in this movie is the Unabomber. Like, people don't know who the Unabomber is. It's a guy, Ted Kaczynski. Sorry, my pronunciation of that must be
Kaczynski,
terrible. But like between 1978 and 1995, he had a bombing campaign where he'd send bombs to, like, he got like the president of United Airlines with one. He used to send them to universities and stuff. The reason he was called the Unabomber was because it was the FBI code for the university and airlining bomber, Unabomber. He basically started off as he was a mathematics genius. Like, he was a prodigy who was very academic, with one of the greatest minds that Harvard had ever seen. And he decided to go off and live in the woods by himself. So, brilliant academic goes off deep into the woods or jungle, as it were.
Oh, a friend of mine did that. He just decided to move into the woods, and then he got admitted to hospital.
Well, that's the thing. He was doing this for like a long time. And then he started to notice like how much, industrialization was encroaching upon the land. And so then eventually in 95, so like very close to this coming out, literally ripped straight from the headlines, and you can see it in this scene, he presented a proposal. He asked the Washington Post to publish his manifesto, which was called Industrial Society and Its Future, which is all about how we need to stop toxifying the planets and how industrialization needs to slow down, because otherwise it's going to, poison the oceans, blacken the skies, and things like that. And so it's like, holy crap, yeah. And at an age now where Matt Reeves, the Batman, is blatantly doing the Riddler is the Zodiac, which was a thing we were joking about last season before the movie was even properly in production. It could be that the next time you see Poison Ivy, it will be like, oh, she is flat out the Unabomber. Or she'll be like, a promising young woman version of Poison Ivy. But, now is the time to bring back Poison Ivy, basically.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by this, I knew who the Unabomber was, but I didn't know this.
Oh, yeah, that does. He's a fascinating character because, I think they made a couple of movies on him. Paul Bettany played him at one point. Tobin Bell.
I think I've seen that one.
I'm a big fan of
I think
Paul
there's
Bettany.
also a TV series about him.
Yeah. It's a couple of different documents. Apparently, there's a it's one of the hot tickets at the minute. There's a movie about him starring Sharlto Copley, from District 9 and stuff. But apparently, it's like it's they're bidding. There's a bidding war going on over who gets to distribute it, because apparently it's quite good. So I guess now you might get a Unabomber film coming in the near future, and then Matt Reeves might go, I know who I could apply that that character to.
And I feel like we have to do a bonus episode on that when it comes out, right?
Oh, totally. But at all that, because if you look into his manifesto, there's all stuff about he resents like mind control techniques. So apparently he was involved with academics who may or may not have been linked to MK Ultra.
I was going to say that as a joke.
Yeah, no, that's apparently the guy who taught him and put him through this course was like, there's rumors that he was involved with that as well. But it's just weird because Poison Ivy's whole thing is essentially mind control as well. It's another weird link there.
Most conspiracy theorists are crazy. But, that MK Ultra thing is a genuine thing that existed. So, problems have arisen from it.
It's even things, though, like, talking about, the fanatics being crazy. Again, looking at the Unabomber's manifesto, a lot of it is like, well, yeah, like, he's not wrong. And apparently, even at trial, his lawyers are like, you have to plead insanity, because otherwise you'll be given the gas chamber. And he was like, if I plead insanity, that means no one will take the message seriously. So no, I won't say that I'm insane and stuff. And so I don't think he got the death sentence. He's got like 8 life sentences. But he's but yeah. So it was just weird though, like Schumacher offhandedly referencing that, and it's like, holy crap, that's exactly who this character is though. It's much more of a on the pulse for the 1990s cultural reference than I might have thought of.
This has changed my life.
Although I should say, though, in the 90s, there was a lot of... Environmentalism was a big thing around this time.
Oh, yeah. No, actually, earlier in the 90s, because my sister's 5 years older than me, she was, she joined the World Wildlife, Fund for Nature, and there was like a big drive to clean up the neighborhood and all kinds of weird crap they got kids doing, like recycle your paper. And she'd make her own paper and take it to school, and it was just crap. It was great. and I remember like vividly, we were all terrified as a kid of acid rain. And that's disappeared.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Remember when you heard, like, as a kid, I thought, like, any minute now, acid's going to fall from the sky and burn my flesh off.
Right.
Well, but a lot of the things that we kind of laugh about or they sounded crazy. Well, there's a kernel of truth in all of those things. So
Definitely.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Unfortunately,
Yeah, but so we still have the Uma bomber here.
Yeah.
No.
Holy crap!
But we'll say though, in environmentalism been a hot topic at the time, because you obviously had Captain Planet, that was a thing from the 80s through the 90s. Where you had Fern Gully, and then Once Upon a Forest, even Star Trek 4 was all environmentalist kind of stuff. But then of course Studio Ghibli, they had
I
a
would
big
put Nausicaa in there. I was just going to say.
Well, and
Mononoke.
Princess Mononoke. Yeah.
And Pom Poko, to a certain extent. We'll say
Yes,
as well,
very
Neil,
much so.
you'll be very familiar, because Nausicaa featured the voice in the English dub of Uma Thurman. So
Who the hell watches the English dub?
She... Yeah, I think she was the villain. I think she played the villain from memory.
Despite loving
Okay.
Uma, I do not advise anyone ever watch a dub. Come on.
Some of them are okay, but generally speaking, that is true.
Yeah, sadly, sometimes the dub version is the only version you have available. So
Okay, I'll let you off in that regard. If it's the only version, fine. If you can choose, though, come on. I like to hear the actor.
Well, this gets weird now with the options on Netflix over here, because you have all the Ghibli films, but you have all the dubs.
Yep.
So I know we recorded for Poco Rosso, Neil, a while back, and you were saying like, Jean Reno does them in French.
In the
I'm
French
like,
version, it's really
nice.
good. It's
I
really
haven't
good.
actually checked which dubs are available in the German Netflix. I just noticed we do not have the whole Ghibli catalog.
Oh, really?
We only have a couple.
Oh,
Weird.
This is the
What a
problem
shame.
with Netflix,
But-
and I miss the days where you could easily, on all devices, you can still do it on PC, but on all devices, switch between them. Because I used to have a setup where I could just look up, like I could type any movie in, and it would tell me what Netflix it was on. So it'd be like, this movie is only on German Netflix, so I could just switch to that.
Right. Nice.
They stopped you doing it.
I wonder if it's on Disney Plus. Because one thing people who know me will know, I love the Spanish dub of The Simpsons.
Yeah, Los
Spanish
Simpsons,
Homer. Yeah, that guy doing Spanish Homer is phenomenal. I wonder in Disney Plus, can you get the Spanish dub?
Yeah, no, you can. Because remember, I said to you, randomly, my Disney Plus changed to the Spanish Simpsons. And it came up with Los Simpsons. And I was like, oh, is this like a bit? Is this like a joke? And the
might just
episode
have to
started
do-
and it was all in Spanish.
I just have to do like a rewatch of all like the first 12 seasons of The Simpsons, all in Spanish. now.
God.
Well, I have to tell my Disney Plus not to reset itself to German all the time.
Oh, really?
Because then I can't find things, because for most things I do not know the German title.
Oh, that's a good point, actually. Yeah, because they sometimes change the titles, don't they? It's not just a translation of the title.
The really annoying one that happens for me all the times, every single time I get anything up on Amazon Prime, because I like to have the subtitles on for everything, like including English language
Because you're
things.
deaf, yeah.
Well, it's that is also too. Just if the line goes by quickly, also having it written in front of you, it's like, oh, so I understood everything that happened there. And every time I'll have to put on the English subtitles, and you would think that would just set it there permanently. Every single time you have to go and put them on again.
I have the exact same problem. At the moment, I'm watching Drag Race España. And on the app that the company who make Drag Race have, Wow Presents, on their app, every time I need to put the English subtitles on. It's like, can you not just realize I'm in England and I cannot understand Spanish? Please.
Oh, wow.
One thing I will notice in a little bit of weird Batman continuity is that Pamela Isley wearing gloves in this scene. And remember, like, that was a big thing in our first season. They had a whole thing. The Joker was constantly wearing his gloves, even when he was like at ease and in his boudoir or whatever. He'd be sitting with his gloves on at all times. We theorized that in canon it would be like, oh, maybe the chemicals have really made his skin sensitive, so it's painful to touch things, so he has the gloves on all the time. And then in practical, like actual behind the scenes things, it's because they don't want Jack Nicholson putting white makeup everywhere because he's got white makeup in his hands all the goddamn time.
Isn't Poison Ivy to be like green skinned in the comic books?
That's true. I think that was in the late 80s they decided to make her. I think it was in the Black Orchid miniseries with Neil Gaiman wrote and Dave McKean, who did like Arkham Asylum and stuff. They just decided to get Poison Ivy's green now, and then the rest of the comics were like, "Oh, great! Oh, that's a great idea."
Well, see, I like it in the context of that particular kind of set of comics, but as a whole, do you like that she is green?
Oh yeah, I do. I think that's a
big time.
Because it just differentiates her, a bit and stuff. And
I'm torn. I like it in specific contexts.
To be like that Yvonne Craig character from Star Trek. Of course, Yvonne Craig played Batgirl, so there you go.
Yeah, one of the most famous Batgirls.
Doesn't she have like some touch kind of sensitivity, like when like her lips, when she kisses someone is poisonous? Maybe her hands give off some sort of thing, so she needs to wear gloves.
Could very well be.
Yeah, I wonder if that is the case. That would make total sense. She's like, if I touch him now, he might notice if something weird happens. So I've got to make sure that no one can touch
it's like,
Poison Ivy unless she wants
when you
to.
have to go and get your dog's ball because you've thrown it and it's gone in a bunch of nettles, and you get like stingy bits on your hands. Then maybe that's what her hands do. Maybe if she inadvertently touched Bruce Wayne's hand and he got all these nettle stings. You might think, oh, wait, hold on a sec. What's going on here?
It's like, everything about you is telling me that you're a supervillain, and now this is the ball that broke the camel's back.
Stings. I hate nails.
But also just reminded me too, because it was in Batman Returns, Max Schreck always had his gloves on too. It's like a weird callback to that as well, where I think Walken said that the idea was that he never gets his hands dirty, so he's always wearing gloves.
Oh, nice.
Which is like, Walken, good literal thinking there.
It's just that gloves denote supervillain to everyone.
Yeah, definitely. Mr. Glass.
Then we did, in the middle of all this this tirade that Ivy's going on here, as you mentioned previously, like the crowd start turning on her, which is
they're horror.
They're horrible, but at the same time, it is kind of almost like a realistic reaction because so many people are very dismissive.
Yeah, but Bruce should step in.
No, totally. But it's just one of those things. So think of people's mindsets of like, why are people so anti-environmentalist? Because I guess now they would have the kind of like, Unabomber-esque ties. They're like, oh yeah, weird misanthropes who care more about the world than people and things like that. But I think it's one of those things of people who are in the mindset of industrial growth are all about like, make the pie bigger, don't redistribute the pieces. And then you have someone comes along and tells you like the pieces are finite. So you need to face the reality that your resources are diminishing. And then it's kind of like telling everybody that like all that progress that society made, through fossil fuels and stuff, the party's over now, and you're basically telling people like, yep, you screwed everything up. by doing this.
Yeah.
And now so it's, it's basically a bummer having someone coming in to tell you the truth about things.
It is the
And
truth.
so-
And they're laughing at the thing she's saying specifically here. Is when she goes, a day of reckoning is coming. That's right. The same plants and flowers that saw you crawl from the primordial soup will reclaim this planet.
Yeah.
She's correct.
Isn't that so very dramatic?
It's dramatic. It's over the top,
Yes.
but she's right.
And then of course this gossip Gertie. You must be new in town because here in this city, Batman protects us from plants. This sounds so ridiculous.
Oh, she needs to be. Why doesn't Ivy slap her? Come on. Because she is totally right. If we destroy this world, ourselves, the planet will live on, though, in one guise or another.
Yeah, sure.
The plants aren't going to die unless we absolutely nuke everything, which seems not like a possibility anymore.
And even then, some little
Yeah,
amoeba will crawl out of radiated soup and repopulate.
exactly.
Yeah, it's just our civilization will be gone.
Yep. And ultimately, as sad as it is, we don't matter. And I think it's freeing to accept that. We don't matter. Ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, we're new. Dinosaurs
Pretty
were around
much.
1,000,000 times longer than we have been.
We're idiots.
And look where they are now.
yeah.
I will say though, I love Gossip Gertie coming in with that, like, oh, even from plants and flowers. I do love Ivy's reaction. Like, even when she starts speaking, she just has this air of like, oh, here it comes.
Yeah, she's heard it before.
And then when everyone's laughing, she does this weird twist with her body where she's like, that's right, okay, yeah, get your laughs in. Again, now justifying to her, like, okay, all right, I tried to be nice, so...
Yep.
And then she's handed the world's ugliest invite.
It's an interesting invitation, isn't it?
We'll say that before that, though, they cut a line here as if they were trying to make Poison Ivy seem milder. Because, she has this whole, she's ranting at people and stuff, and, and no one will be able to protect you and stuff. But it kind of sounds quite generalized. But in the original script and the novelization, she has the additional line of, Earth will be a garden again. Somehow, I will find a way to bring down your man-made civilization.
Oh, yeah.
That is blatantly going in front of everyone. I am going to do this to you,
Yeah,
rather
yeah.
than it will just happen, naturally or whatever,
Yeah.
That's right. No,
Would
It's
give
not
it
ready
away
yet.
too soon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Agreed.
that would then make Bruce Wayne a bona fide idiot if he wasn't like, okay, I need to keep an eye on this woman
Yeah.
instead of inviting her to my party.
He's a bit of an idiot.
And this one, he certainly is.
But where does he get this invite from? Do we see where he pulls it? I mean, it's huge, this thing. And he just kind of pulls it out of nowhere.
That's a good point. Where was he keeping it?
Why has he got it? And where has he got it?
And how many has he got?
Is he just carrying them around?
He doesn't have like a secretary or anything. Yeah, beside him, like an entourage to. It's all reporters.
Maybe that's what
and-
Pink Ella is for.
Damn it,
Yeah.
Alfred's not there. How is he doing anything? Alfred, where are my invites? Alfred!
Unless he invited one of those reporters, he's like, "Give me that." Just hauls it out of the guy's hand. Aw, I was really looking forward to it, Bruce. Like, too bad, she's going now.
It's a bizarre-looking invite, isn't it? Like, I know they're going for like this, this kind of vibe
voodoo
of
kind of,
an indigenous culture, kind of vibe to it, because it's all about the rainforest, the environment, and tribal thing. But it's awful.
Also, I'm assuming Ivy's very, she's holding it with a bit of distaste, as if she's like, not recycled paper. Like, just saying, okay, get this thing away from me.
That's a good
But-
point. Yeah, it's not recycled. Look at it. And these terrible fonts. What are these? Oh,
I mean, it looks like someone's class project from
Right.
Computer Graphics Class 101.
Yeah.
yeah, in like 2000 or something. It's like, I'm going to put flames on it.
Alfred needs to work on his computer skills.
Well, see, what I liked, what it really reminded me of was the riddles from the last movie.
Yeah, it did,
like those
yeah.
could have handcrafted. I wonder now, because Bruce Wayne's like, I know I got Edward Nygma locked up. I get him to make them for me. That's part of his public service. Is like, oh yeah, make invites for Bruce Wayne's parties. So he's like, yeah, I gotta handcraft these. And And that's why it's so angry looking. That's, Ed venting now that he's trapped in Arkham. He's painted a green face with a really angry looking expression on it.
And what is it now? So Batman and Robin are now making like guest appearances at costume balls.
Oh, this is crazy.
Yeah.
What is going on?
It's like cameo.
Yeah, that's a good point.
How much do they get paid?
Yeah. What is that about?
Does Bruce, as the person putting the ball on, pay Batman to make it look legit in the books,
And that would be embezzlement,
Yeah.
I guess.
He's embezzling
is
money.
he doing it? Is it a one-off because he's trying to lure Freeze to the thing, right? By putting the diamonds up.
Yeah.
But he's there, right, as Bruce Wayne. It's his thing. And we know that he can kind of, he's always got his Bat costume somewhere near. But Alfred will be out in the car, right, ready to pounce. So why do you need Bat? I mean, why are you like lowering Batman's kind of, status and credence by putting him on a stage at a costume ball? He's the Dark Knight, for God's sake. Like,
Yeah.
what do people
All you
think's
need to
going
do
on?
is put, these diamonds are going to be there. You think putting Batman and Robin are going to be there would put Mr. Freeze off.
You'd put him
more than
off,
anything.
exactly. It's counterintuitive.
But, I guess I had a running theory that in the last movie, he had people's brainwaves getting sucked out by the box. And that this movie is a direct continuation of brain-damaged Gotham City. And that's why everything's just so crazy. It could be Bruce Wayne is also like, yeah, so I'll lure Mr. Freeze out by saying the Batman's going to be the thing that he wants to steal. It's like, that totally makes complete sense.
Yeah, I could see that.
But, it does make perfect sense in the context of this movie being just a cartoon comic book, right? Of course, Batman, it's just exactly what would happen in the 60s show, right? Batman, of course, he would be at a costume ball.
Oh, 1,000,000%. 100% that Batman would be like,
So it's on point, I guess.
Yeah. But yeah, so I'm noted out for minute 38. I don't know if you guys got anything else you want to bring up in particular, or...
Noted out over here.
Yeah. Just see, it'd be a shame, we have Arnie next minute, so I want to make sure that you get your word in about him. So.
All right.
Even if you have to go
Let's do it.
halfway.
Yeah, totally. We just need to step out in the middle. Feel free. But I just feel it'd be unjust that we're doing a movie with Arnie and you don't get to talk about him.
Yeah. So we will head off now into the dark, dark night. And we will be back again on Friday with more Bat, Minute, and Robin. Next time, Total Recall! Clooney and his crew bid Ivy adieu after the belladonna of spite is given a gala invite. There's noxious prognosticating as sinister schemes are foreseen. But which master of ice blasts is living in the past as he stares forlornly at a screen? Find out Friday, fearless Bat Fiends. Same Bat Pod, different Bat Minute. We'll be back.